You know, just because your keys on your piano are black and white, it doesn't mean you can't have colorful music. Hi, I'm Dana, and this is Dana's Music Notes. So this is my breakfast room, and it's one of my favorite rooms in the house just because of all the windows. There's lots of indirect light coming in, and my orchids just love it because of that. But also check these out. These are called sugar molds, and I had a neighbor that was selling 2 of them, so I bought them from her, and my colored pencils fit perfectly in there. You know, this used to be a room that we ate in, but now it's just kind of become the craft room, so you can always see my grandchildren in here, whether they're coloring or playing with Play-Doh. It's just really become a really fun room. You know, when I was younger, I used to love to color, and then you get older and you think, oh, I'm too old for that. But you know what? Guess what? They've made some great adult coloring books. I do let my grandkids use these sometimes, but a lot of the pages I save just for myself. And this is the one I'm working on today, which is really fun. But it's also a great stress reliever, just like music is. And so speaking of music, let's head into my music room so I can talk to you about how to make your music more colorful. So let's go. So before we actually get to the music today, I just wanted to show y'all something really fun. And I promise this is not an ad. It's just something, since we're talking about colorful music and colors. Now, and y'all may have noticed my nails are always different through, you know, each lesson. And I try to kind of do it with a theme. And when the pandemic hit and I couldn't go to my salon, I discovered it's called Color Street. My daughter actually told me about these. And they're just like little overlays. It's just like a peel and stick. And they last for about a week. They're very inexpensive. I think they're super fun. You can get solid colors. You can get patterns. This is like an overlay of dots that you could put over top of any color. And so check these out. These are fireworks, and you'll see these on my nails for 4th of July. So again, this is not an ad. It's just something really fun. If you're struggling with your nails and you haven't been able to go back to your salon yet, you could check around your area, see if anybody's selling these. They're just super fun. So have you ever been listening to a speech and you were bored to death, felt like you were going to fall asleep? We've probably all been there. And the reason for it might have been because the person speaking had no intonation in their voice, no rise and fall in their voice, or maybe they were devoid of facial expression. Well, the same thing can happen in your music. If you're playing a beautiful song, but there's no rise or fall, or there's no expression, you could really bore somebody playing. Even though the song is beautiful, you could bore them to death, and we do not want to do that. Another example would be, if you've ever heard the term in cooking, that it's a one-note dish. That would be a dish without a nice combination of flavors. It's just kind of one note. It's boring to eat, monotonous. And so again, we do not want to do that. So today I want to talk to you about how to make your music colorful. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about, the easiest way to make your music colorful, is through dynamics. And the word dynamics just means how loud or soft that you play your music. And composers, when they've written music, they have in their head an idea of how loud or soft they want that played. So you'll see a lot of notations in music. And we're going to look at the first one. Now, if you were here for my very first video ever, I talked about the name of our piano. It used to be called a piano forte, which are 2 Italian words that mean soft and loud. And so you already know this one, piano. Now, instead of them writing the whole word out, piano, you're just going to see it as a little stylized lowercase letter. And so this is how you'll see it. So whenever you see this, they want you to play it softly. So that's our first one, piano. Now, this one, if you see 2 P's, this is pianissimo, and it means very softly. And then with any dynamic, they can add an M to it. Mezzo piano, which means moderately soft. Now let's look at the other end of the spectrum. So then you have your forte, shown as just a stylized F. So forte means to play loud. Fortissimo is very loud. And then if they add an M to it, you've got your mezzo forte, which is medium loud or moderately loud. And then the next 3 things I want to show you are these 2 symbols. So this is a crescendo, and a diminuendo. Now, this is also can be known as a decrescendo, but when you see this one, a crescendo means to gradually get louder, and this one means to gradually get softer. And I'm going to show you all of these on the piano, how to play them. And the easiest way, to know which is which is if it is pointing toward the louder end of the piano. It's just easier to play those notes loud because remember the strings on that end are very long and very thick. So this means to get gradually louder, and if you see it pointing to the other end of the piano where the notes are quieter, that it's easier to play them quieter, you gradually get quieter. There we go. Your crescendo, your diminuendo. And then last of all is this little sign. This is an accent sign. It kind of looks like a chicken foot, the little, if a chicken's walking along, that's what he's going to leave behind, his mark in the dirt, but it's an accent sign. And sometimes you'll see this above a note or below a note, just depending on where it is on the staff. If it's down low, you'll see the accent below it. If it's up high on the staff, you'll see it above the note. But this just means to play that one note louder. Okay, so let's go over to my piano and we will try all of these. So right here, I just wanted to show you the order from loudest to softest, and in case you kind of weren't sure, which one's louder, mezzo forte or forte, which one's softer. So here you can see. So fortissimo would be the loudest, then forte, mezzo forte. Now we're getting a lot quieter, mezzo piano, even quieter, piano, and quietest, pianissimo. Now, by the way, there's even 3 Ps, which would be even, you can hardly hear it, and there would be 3 Fs. So, but for now, we're just looking at these. So now let's try some with the C scale, and you can practice doing your forte and your piano. Okay, right now we're going to play our C scale piano. Now try it pianissimo. Now let's try it forte. And fortissimo. Okay, here I've just quick written out the C scale so we can practice some more dynamics. And if you have not learned how to play the C scale yet, I recommend just go back to my lesson 1 and I'll teach you how to play the C scale. But I wanted to point out one more thing. In my last lesson, my summer video, I taught you all about up stems and down stems. And so if it's on or above the middle line, it gets a down stem, and I messed up right here, if you can catch it. Do you see it? So this note right here should have an up stem. So just ignore that because we're looking at dynamics anyway. Okay, so for going up the C scale, we're going to start soft and we're going to do a crescendo. So you slowly get louder until by the time you reach the C, you should be at loud. So that would sound like this. Now coming back down, so see how we're loud, and then we're going to do a diminuendo to where we're soft all the way coming back down to the C. So start soft, get louder. So that's just a fun little way that you can try your dynamics at home. So another way to make your music colorful is through your tempo. So remember, dynamics are how loud and soft you play. The tempo is how fast or slow you play. And again, they use Italian words to describe to you how you should play that piece. All right, and you're usually going to see it up at the very front of your piece. So when you start a new piece and you look, like here, I'll just grab this one. We're going to be doing Over the Rainbow later for all of our colors. And you'll usually see it right here. Now they actually did not use the Italian word here, but this is where it would say it. So here they want you to play it moderately, not fast. But a lot of times you'll see it right here, whether it's Adagio, Allegro, or whatever. So let's look at the first one, Adagio. So Adagio just means to play slowly. And when I teach this to my students, I tell them to think of a turtle, just kind of crawling along. It's a crawling speed. It's slow. Your next word is andante. This word in Italian means walking. So think of a man just walking along. He's going to be moving a lot quicker than a turtle would. And your last one we're looking at is Allegro. Now this means quickly, play it quickly. So think of an animal running. Now with any of these, you can add a moderato. So a lot of times you'll see Adagio moderato, so moderately slow. Or you might see Andante moderato, moderately walking speed. Or last of all, Allegro moderato, so moderately quick. And I know those are a little harder to remember because they all start with A's, but Adagio, slowly, Andante, walking, Allegro, quickly. And then the last two I want to look at here are your Ritardando. You're normally going to see this at the very end of a piece, but it could be, anywhere else too. But a lot of times it's at the end and it just means to slow down, gradually slow down. Usually you'll just see it as RIT dot. They usually abbreviate it. But so that means to slow down, Ritardando. And a tempo. Now, if you've had a Ritardando in the middle of a piece, then you might see this a tempo, and it just means go back to your original speed. So there you go, and let's go try all of those over at my keyboard part of my piano. Okay, so again, we'll just try these with the C scale. So first, let's do Adagio. Think of that turtle. So Adagio means very slow. Andante would be our second one, a walking speed. And Allegro. And by the way, in Italian, if you just tend to add more, letters, more things at the end of this, then that would be even faster. There's an allegretto. So there we go. There's your three main ones. And again, you can add a moderato to any of these to make it a little less. So Adagio, moderato would just be moderately slow. Allegro moderato, just moderately fast. Okay, last of all, I just wanted to show y'all 4 more notations that are going to help make your music colorful. So this first one is a staccato. So anytime you see a dot below a note, it's a staccato, and it means to play that note crisply. Now, if you remember a couple lessons back, I taught y'all about a dotted note, a dotted half note or a dotted quarter note. That would add half of what the note's worth, but that dot is always going to be to the right of your note. But a staccato will always be below the note. And it'll only be quarter notes, eighth notes. You would never see a dot, a staccato under a half note, because how could you play that crisply? You've got to hold it for 2 counts. And a whole note you've got to hold for 4 counts. So this just means to play it crisply, and I'll show you how to do that on the piano in a minute. Now the opposite of staccato is legato, and you will see this as a slur either above your notes or down below your notes, and it just means to play it smoothly so you don't hear a break in between each note. The next notation is called a fermata, and it looks a lot like an I with a little eyebrow over it, but a fermata sign just means it's a hold sign. So, and it adds a lot of drama. So if you play a note, say a chord, and hold it a little bit longer than what it's worth, it just adds a little bit of drama to your music. Last of all is our petal sign. And so when you see this, it just means through that whole series of notes, they want the pedal down so that that holds out everything. And the difference between that is this you could play your note smoothly, playing legato without your pedal down. It's kind of a technique you have to work on, where this is going to just hold out all your notes until you lift your pedal back up. So that's those 4, and let's go look at those on the piano now. Now let's listen to the difference between staccato and legato. So remember, this is our staccato. So if you were playing your C scale and every single note was staccato, it would sound like this. So you just pop each note. And then the opposite of staccato is legato. Now that might take just a little longer because if you just play it, you know, like this, that's not staccato. You're just playing these notes, but they're not connected. So the key is you don't let go of this note until this one goes down. So this is legato. So try doing that on your piano or keyboard. Okay, I wanted to play this song for you because it's a great one. Well, first of all, it's called Chordality by Robert Vandall, but it's a great one for chord progressions, but also for the dynamics. So let's look at a few things. Now, it's a shame it didn't say Allegro there, but you know, a lot of the American composers, I guess, you know, don't use the Italian wording. But here you see a F, so we're going to start out playing this loud. And then remember our little accent. So they want that note and that one to be even louder than what you were already playing. And then if you go, oh, here's a piano. So we're going to play this section softly. This is also a perfect song to show you the difference between legato slurs and ties. So if you watched lesson 3, I taught you about ties, and we learned to play the song Say Something. So when you see a tie, like this one, it just means to keep holding it. So this chord right here is played for it's an 8th note, so it gets half of a count, but it's tied to a half note. All right, so you just keep holding that. Now right here, we have a legato slur, which means to play those 3 notes together smoothly. All right, so how can you tell a difference between a tie and a slur? The only way you can tell the difference is if it's going to the same exact notes, it's a tie. If it's going to different notes, it's a slur. And okay, so look up here. There's your tie because it's going to the same chord. And then that's a slur because it's different notes. And by the way, a slur could start here and go all the way to the end. A slur can be really long or a slur can be really short, like these 3. And looking to see if there's anything else. There's your staccato. So here we have a staccato. They want it very crisp and very loud. But I thought I'm going to play a little of it for you with no dynamics at all and then with dynamics so you can see the difference. Okay, so here we are without any dynamics at all. Play the whole thing for you, but now I will do it with the dynamics. The song I'm going to play for y'all today is Over the Rainbow. First of all, rainbow because we're talking about colors and colorful music, but also because this is a really good piece with the dynamics, and it's a piece where you can really show a lot of expression. And so let's just take a peek at some of the dynamics here. So it starts off mezzo forte, so they want you to start off playing it medium loud. And then, oh, I did want to show you this. So whenever you see, so right here, see this piano dash mezzo forte, that just means that the first time you play this through, you play it soft, and then there's a repeat sign where they want you to come right back to this section, and so the second time around you would play that mezzo forte. Now down here, I added my own fermata because when I'm playing this chord right here, I wanted to hold it out longer so that I can turn the page and keep playing. And then I just want to show you at the very end there's a lot going on. So we've got our ritardando, so we're going to start slowing this down, and we have a diminuendo, so we're going to slowly go to pianissimo, very quiet. So that concludes our lesson today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please feel free and hit that thumbs up button. And if you would like to see more videos like this, be sure and subscribe. And then last of all, if you want to get a notification every time I upload, then be sure and hit that bell. And by the way, I do upload every Monday and sometimes on Wednesdays. And this coming Monday, I hope you'll join me because I'm celebrating something, and I hope you'll be there to celebrate with me. So I hope to see you then. Bye.